Hey there, modern math teacher. What if your students could get instant feedback, deeper understanding, and stronger collaboration all with one tool? Well, I'm here to let you know that they can. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Kristen Moore, your host here on the Modern Math Teacher Podcast. And today I'm going to introduce you to my new favorite AI tool to use with my students. It's called Snorkl, Snorkl. No E, Snorkl. Got it? Okay, good. So today I'm going to share all about how unbelievable my lesson on graphing trigonometric functions. Graphing trigonometric functions was all thanks to AI and Snorkel. We're going to talk about some of the unexpected benefits I had using this activity with my students, from deeper math discussions to precise academic vocab, persistence, and teamwork. This is one episode you don't want to miss because this is actionable in your classroom as we wrap up this crazy 2024-2025 school year. So, first up, let's get to know what the heck is Snorkel. It is an AI powered tool full of lessons and activities that gives students immediate feedback on their math tasks and their explanations, which is so cool. Okay. I started experimenting with this early in the year when I heard it on another podcast. And I can't remember which one. I'm so sorry, but shout out to you for sharing that with me. And I thought it was really great. So I started teaching about it in my AI training for math teachers that I do with the Bureau of Educational Research, or BER, like those flyers that you get in your school inbox. Yeah, those guys. Okay. So I started sharing about that. And I loved that it blended this like interactive math learning with the power of AI. And so in my last training, the group of teachers, they were so enamored with it that I had to schedule time to put it into my own classroom. They have an incredible library of ready to go activities. And I found one that matched up perfectly with what we were doing in the classroom, which is graphing trigonometric functions. Guys, this is what I was trying to teach my students after spring break and before state testing. Are you kidding me? Like, when am I going to get a chance to do this in a meaningful way at this crazy time in the year? Okay. So, what Snorkel is it posts one question for them, or poses like one question for them, one activity. And your students get the opportunity to write, to type, to speak, whatever they want to do with this activity, and it's going to get captured in real time. And Snorkel is going to give your students feedback, right? So, graphing trig functions, usually kind of dull, boring, lots of things we have to talk about. Phase shift, vertical shift, we're talking amplitude, like a ton of different things. My students are all like, what is going on here? Right. So maybe a nightmare for you to teach, or maybe a nightmare from back in your day. But honestly, using Snorkel, this was a game changer. At first, I thought, like, okay, this is going to be some good for practice. Like, I'm excited to try it in my classroom. Everyone else was really liking it. But what I did not expect was how much it deepened my students' thinking. And now Snorkel will be a staple in my classroom forever. Okay. All right. So let's talk about what the activity was and what it looked like in action in my classroom. So, in this activity, I picked one where they are going to be analyzing sine waves and writing equations for it. Okay. So they've got this sine wave graphed in front of them, and they have to write an equation for the wave and explain how they knew what the different features were. Like, why was it a sine wave? Why wouldn't you use cosine? Or I guess you could say why you would use cosine as long as you had a good explanation, but sine. Okay. So I had really high expectations or it requested really high expectations for the students. It's a challenging topic where I know a lot of students struggle. There are so many times where students are asking me, like, how do I know if it's sine or if it's cosine? How can I figure out the period if I'm not sure? And, so many questions, so little time, right? So AI to the rescue. This activity helped them figure it out for themselves. So here's what happened in class. I gave it to the class. They're like, "What is this?" I'm like, "It's cool. It's a new tool. I want to try it out." And they're like, "Cool. Game on, Miss Moore. We got this." So students used Snorkel to submit their equation and their reasoning, right? It had like two prompts in there. They had to figure out the period, what it was, why. Okay. The immediate feedback prompted them to ask me. So they're asking me, calling me over, right? Asking me questions and asking each other for ideas. They were sitting there talking about their ideas, sharing their computers with one another. I did this. I did this. What did you get? How did you figure out the period was this? Like, the amount of natural academic conversations that it sparked was mind blowing. Students were explaining their thinking. They were using correct mathematical vocab without being prompted. I didn't have to tell them to say, like, oh, talk about the amplitude or talk about the phase shift. No, instantly they knew that they were going to get better at it based on the feedback Snorkel gave them and the conversations they were having with their classmates, right? They were persisting. They were trying again and again and again to get it right. And they didn't feel like it was punishment. They were like, "Oh man, I got a 2 out of 4. What can I do?" And so they'd go back and they'd compare to their neighbor who somehow had a 3, and they were like, "Okay, well, you were talking about the equation for a midline and I just said like halfway through the graph was this." So they naturally started using more of that vocab in action. Trying again. I had one student try 12 times until they got a perfect 4 out of 4. They crushed it. But can you imagine a student trying the same problem over and over again in your classroom on a worksheet? No, like absolutely not. If they get it wrong, they get frustrated, they erase it. They get it wrong, they get frustrated, they erase it. They get it wrong, they get frustrated, they erase it. The paper rips, the task is over, they're done. These kids were killing it, crushing it, trying it over and over again, and having fun doing it. So I immediately noticed when we use this, collaboration kicked in. If you're talking about trying to get your students to talk in math class and to reason and problem solve with one another, this is the tool for you. Okay. Students were comparing their responses. They were talking through their misconceptions. They were encouraging one another, like, "Oh, you're so close," or "I see what you did here." Like, just, it was incredible. Okay. So I ran back to my desk. I wrote it down right here. Like, if you're watching me on YouTube, side note, do you know that we're on YouTube? We're on YouTube because I'm a real person and I want you to know that I'm a real person. So, hey, welcome to my office if you're here on YouTube. What's up? If you're not, if you're in podcast land, well, hey, also to YouTube. Okay. Okay. So I wrote it down on this thing. And I was like, I absolutely have to share this with you guys. And so I am like just psyched to be recording this. I don't know if you can tell in my speech. You probably can. Okay. So back to the activity. Settle, settle. Okay. So some big wow moments for me in the classroom. The depth of their understanding grew visibly as they worked and submitted each time. I could see their submissions, they could see them. I could see that they were gaining a deeper understanding of the characteristics of trigonometric graphs, how amplitude could be found, how it was connected to the midline. They made connections between the midline and the vertical shift that we've covered in other families of functions. They were making connections that I haven't heard my classes make with these in all the years I've taught this. So I've been teaching for close to 15 years now. That's a thing. And they were making outrageously amazing connections I haven't seen them make before. Um, Something I love, this tool didn't just check the answers, like correct or incorrect. It really enhanced their mathematical discussions. Students were using that real academic vocab as they read through and reviewed one another's submissions. Like, as they're collaborating in real time, they're using the vocab naturally. It was awesome. They had fantastic conversations about how or when a student used a vocab term like amplitude or midline and whether they were right or wrong and what they could change. It was like literally a math teacher's dream. Hands down, my favorite day of teaching in all of April 2025. Okay. Even my reluctant students, I've got a group of girls in the back. They're so sweet, but they did not want to do this. Okay. But they were engaged because they got feedback and they felt that instant and personalized feedback. And they knew that if they got it, quote unquote, wrong at first, they would get another chance to do it right. And the only quote unquote person who knew that their answer was wrong was the AI tool in front of them. And so they battled back and forth till they got it right. And that persistence and that engagement is not something that you can fake, you guys. So again, a breakdown of why Snorkel works so well in my classroom and why you have to use it in your classroom. One, gave my students immediate feedback. It helped my students self-correct in real time in a way that is different from, like the Delta math saying like, "Oh, that's not right. Try again." Way different type of feedback. It was typed out. It encouraged them. It got them thinking. Really great thinking feedback. Okay, so immediate feedback. Two, academic vocabulary second to none. Students naturally use these precise mathematical terms to discuss their answers, and it was just mind blowing. Okay. Reason number three, it promoted deeper understanding. They were trying, they were failing, they were revising, they were actually learning, not just surface level work. It was incredible. Number four, collaboration. We want our students to do math together, right? It turned independent practice into team problem solving as they discussed and shared and compared. And it was just chef's kiss amazing, okay? And persistence. My students did not give up. They were motivated to get it right and to go above and beyond. And that is not something that you can buy or you can fake. And so I just believe so strongly every single one of you needs to go out and try Snorkel in your classroom. So here's my challenge. Here's what I want for you to do. I want you to start small. Go use Snorkel with one topic you're reviewing, right? Because it's the end of the year, or you're introducing. You will not regret the time that you spend on this. Okay, so seriously, like while you're listening to me right now, go find Snorkel, sign up for it, okay? And find one activity that connects to the topic you're teaching this week. They have a giant library. I was so impressed and blown away with what they've already got in there. It is great for all levels, K-12. So send this to all of your teacher besties. Okay. They also have things other than math, but math is like, this is where I was mind blown. Okay. So this is great for things like graphing. Graph analysis was like amazing to talk about. Solving equations, mathematical reasoning, really promoting that problem solving. So many great activities in there that I cannot wait to keep using this. Okay. Then I want you to, when you launch this in your classroom, let students know it's okay and good to revise their answers. Just preface it with that, like, oh, you're going to have to probably answer more than once. And then shoot. Give them a reward for the student who shows the most persistence with this. My student who sat in the back and did 12 times to get a perfect 4 out of 4, his his understanding, his comprehension of this topic grew so immensely, and so did his ability to persevere and persist in problems in general. Like, kudos to him, kudos to this program. Definitely give him a reward. So find a way to print out something, most persistent award or something. Okay, do that. Okay, and also make sure that when you do this, you build in time for discussion and collaboration after their students submit the first time and they get their feedback. You won't even actually have to direct your students to do so. It is just going to happen completely naturally, and it is going to blow your mind. So, okay, seriously, you need to give yourself minimum 15 to 25 minutes to do this activity. It is time well invested. It is not time spent. It is so well worth it. You absolutely must give this a try. Okay, so this tool, let's wrap this up. Clearly, I love it, and I need to go find another one to do with my students again. This tool, you guys, did not just make like practicing easier. It made my students better mathematical thinkers. Ooh, okay, hold on. We were playing catch up there. Okay, so again, this tool didn't just make my practice easier; it made them better mathematical thinkers, reasoners, problem solvers. And if you've been curious about using AI in your classroom with your students, but you weren't sure where to start, this is it. Okay. If you're curious about more AI, how you can use it to enhance your teaching, I've got you covered. You can grab my free AI guide for math teachers. It's packed with ideas, tools, including Snorkel, and quick start tips to make your planning faster and more effective. You'll find the link in the show notes right here below or in the description here on YouTube. In the meantime, you guys, I would love to hear what you think if you give Snorkel a try. Tag me on Instagram, drop it in our Facebook group, share your answers or your wins or your questions, anything it is. I am 10 out of 10 recommending Snorkel to you. Okay, you guys. So let's wrap this up. Until next time, you guys, keep experimenting, keep collaborating, and as always, keep it real.